Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dreamworld video. So, I want to very quickly address something that I keep seeing in the comments of my previous Dreamworld videos. And that is whenever I give them credit for something. Whenever I say they've done something well, there always seems to be a handful of people that all of a sudden seem to think that I'm completely on their side and that I've forgotten the shitty things they've done. So, I just want to go ahead and very quickly explain my stance on this. I am a very objective person. I will see something for what it is currently, but it doesn't mean I've forgotten what it was. I am not making the Dreamworld videos solely to bash on them, because it wouldn't feel right to do that with anyone. I have said this from the beginning, that if these guys ever achieve things that they said they were going to, I will give them credit for doing that. But until they do that, I will criticise the things they do wrong. So it's not a matter of I either love them or hate them. It's not black and white. It's a step-by-step basis. If they do things that are worthy of praise or fix things that are worthy of praise, I will praise them for it. Because at the end of the day, what is going to motivate them to do better in their game if all people do is bash them, even when they're doing things right? Now, I know that the majority of you completely understand this, so I will leave it at that. But with that being said, I have to be honest, it's pretty much all praise this week. So let's jump into the update. This week we are blessed and addressed by Zach himself. Welcome, Dreamers, to Weekly Alpha Development Release number 29. Patch highlights, city update. Now, I jumped into this not really knowing what the update to the city was. So I booted up Dreamworld, loaded in, and wow, it's a massive improvement. They have stripped the city of all these skyscrapers, medieval buildings, new-looking buildings, French cafes. They've stripped it entirely. And instead, they've replaced it with a modular building kit where they can make buildings in their size and shape of choice. But it's all in one consistent building style, which is perfect. They've also remapped where all the buildings are, so there's no buildings crushed into each other anymore. It actually looks like a somewhat functional city. Now, it's still quite clearly an early prototype of the city. This isn't its final form, I would hope. But my god, it's so much easier on the eyes. It's just infinitely better than what it was. Now, I'm quite happy about this week's update, because everything in this update is actually based off feedback from my last video, which means they're listening. So yeah, we've got little lakes, ponds, rivers, little grass banks and verges, and different levels of elevation on the city, which is the main thing that I think has completely broken this up and made it a bit more easy to read on the eyes. It's also not massive anymore, because it didn't need to be. We had 6 stalls last time, and a massive city that didn't make use of any of that. But now we've just got a nice little condensed city, which is perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better. So, brownie points to Zach and Garrison this week. Players who've built their properties had their land moved closer to the centre. Now, this is something that I don't entirely agree with. So these player-owned building plots have been scattered in amongst the new city layout. Now, the only reason I disagree with this is because we've all seen what players build. And it's no different in this game. There is just a jumble of stairs and doors just in the middle of nicely put together buildings. So I would probably suggest that they move those to like create an outer ring around the city and have player housing there, or make a district for it. But I certainly wouldn't mix it in with the actual buildings. Right, the one that has excited me more than anything. You guys know that my biggest complaint in this game, since they added it, was the hunger system. You got hungry so quickly and died almost every 5 minutes if you didn't eat. Well, you will no longer starve to death. You will only get to low health. So this system now makes your health go down to 10 instead of 0. And that's it. You don't die, which is fantastic. Because if you're walking around and building and you're not in combat, it feels horrible to have to keep eating up to full. And just eating every 5 minutes. Otherwise you die and lose some of your resources, and then you're back to square one, and then you've got to run out into the wild and regather those resources, which will also cost hunger. So you just found yourself running around picking up food constantly. I've tested it out, that works, it's great. Thank you so much for changing that, because this will make testing things on there so much more enjoyable. Up next, farming crash fixed. As many of you may remember from my last video, my base got turned into Reactor 4 when I could no longer get near it. Every time I did, it would crash due to a bug with planted items. Now, I actually found out what the cause of this was on stream, after a few viewers suggested it to me. So every time I got near my base and I was holding mushroom spores, which are plantable items, the game would just crash for some reason. That's now been fixed. We told Garrison what was causing it, and he's fixed it for this update, which is fantastic, because that was a very inconvenient bug. Now, we move on to the last part of this update, which isn't that interesting, but it's nice to have added. Wheat added to farming. So bread is needed for one of the best foods you can make, which is really nice to have, but you couldn't grow wheat to make the bread. You had to go out hunting for it, which was a bit shitty. But that's no longer the case, and you can now just grow it. Before I end this video, I just want to say I'm amazed at how many of you last week wanted to watch me stream Dreamworld. There were 170 of you watching me live on Twitch, and this just goes to show that whether you guys like it or not, you're interested in it. So today I will also be streaming some Dreamworld. We actually had an absolute blast last week. There are still some bugs that are absolutely comical. We ran into quite a few of those. But overall, we had a good laugh. A few of you jumped in and joined me and kept me company while I streamed it. So we'll be doing that again tonight. As always, guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to the patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome, and you are the ones who are going to be allowing me to take that week off over Christmas. I'll be live over on Twitch now, testing out some Dreamworld update for this week and trying to progress further so that I can test future updates. As always, guys, have an awesome day and a fantastic week.